Michael Intrator joins us now. It's good to have you here at Post 9. Welcome. So we were in these talks sort of on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly about how governments can work with Coreweave. You were also just fresh off of this trip with President Trump to the UK announcing all of these deals. What's your takeaway on the best way to do this, private sector, public sector?
So thank you for having me. And I do think that both of these meetings really highlight the realization that when you're building a planetary scale infrastructure that's really required to allow artificial intelligence to reach its potential, that you are going to have to plug into really all of the resources that are available, and those are private sector resources and those are public sector resources. The meeting yesterday, the P3 meeting, it was a wonderful opportunity for exchanging of ideas, the opportunity to be with the President and the Prime Minister in the UK. Once again, just an incredible opportunity to kind of bring together different constituents that have different tooling that allows for the mobilization of the order of magnitude of capital that's required to allow this build out to occur.
What is that? How big are we?
Oh,
are you thinking?
So I think a big. One of the narratives out there is that we keep hearing these incredibly large deals being announced by the AI labs, by the hyperscalers, by the neoclouds, and that is an incredible indication of the scale of the demand. But what it does not do is it doesn't really speak to all of the things that need to happen and all of the investment that needs to occur in order to provide an environment where these investments in the data centers and the supercomputers, and I'm talking about, it's everything from energy exploration, through power generation, through transmission, all the way through the data centers, and ultimately up and through the supercomputers to the models and to the application layer. And so it's trillions of dollars, right? And you really are rebuilding one of the fundamental components of what the economy will require and depend upon for the next 50 years.
It's just like hard to wrap your arms around.
It is. It's bigger numbers than I think the human brain can actually handle.
Are there comparisons to be made to the build-out of .com? What's different? Yeah, but at the time, you had all these governments trying to come to terms with the revolutionary technology, right?
There's a couple of things that are different. First of all, it's the physicality of it, right? The requirement to invest so much money to build an entire layer of power generation is different than what we saw in the .com. The .com was a bolt-on to the existing infrastructure. This requires really a new layer, because you're talking about a step function in power consumption because the compute is so powerful. It is a debate that goes on in many circles, like, is this is the disruption that this represents on the same order of magnitude, greater or lesser than the advent of the internet, right? And I believe that over the long term, you don't get to put these things in a pecking order. All you get to say is this will be one of the seminal technology build-outs and one of the seminal technologies of our future.
That's why it was so interesting to listen to the president address Jensen in that room and say, I hope you're right, because the commitment to get it made is much different than it was in the 90s.
Yeah, look, I think there's another narrative out there is like, are we in a bubble? And that's come up again and again. And I'm sure if I kind of sat here long enough, you guys would ask me this question.
Yeah. Given the sums we're talking about, it's not an unrealistic question to ask, because is that capital going to actually produce a significant return?
So one of the things that's incredibly important to understand here is that the overwhelming majority of the compute that's being built right now is being built to serve inference. Inference represents the monetization of artificial intelligence. It is being built because the hyperscalers that are serving clients are being paid to build this infrastructure to serve their current demand and their projection of demand. And so, just because a lot of money flows into a particular portion of the economy doesn't imply that it's a bubble. What it is implying is that there is tremendous broad-based demand across the technology space as the society, as the enterprise businesses begin to integrate that into their workflows. And it's just, I think that everybody jumps to the concept of, is this a bubble? Because they just see these vast sums and they're like, oh, it must be a bubble. And I just think you got to go back to, why is the money flowing there? And is it being supported by commercial activity?
Right. Well, I don't know that we all do that. And in part, I mean, the companies that are deploying this capital are amongst the largest, most successful companies of all time. So I think we do delineate between that and certainly the .com boom and bust, where we had so many companies without a business model that were getting allocated capital they never should.